Schumacher. This nearly 2-hour documentary on Netflix is an absorbing watch for Michael Schumacher fans.
For me, I was looking for a little bit more. Maybe you won't. Maybe as a first timer into F1 racing, you will understand one of the greatest riders who has a natural knack for driving.
But it doesn't reveal any new details either about his terrible skiing accident, except perhaps obliquely, as it only shows aerial views of the general area where it happened, or indeed his present condition, for which you need to read between the lines from what his wife, Corina, and his children have to say about him.
Keeping the race driver apart and the human being apart, the personal side of his storytelling in this documentary is very nice. Between his children, his wife, and all the people that have also interacted with him, even though they have been on a professional front with him, also interacted with him in a personal life. Now that is something that we did not know. To us, Michael Schumacher is a face, he's a poster. He's a guy who sits in an F1 car and pumps his hand out every time he wins and crosses the checkered flag.
Perhaps the most telling comment that we can infer from his wife is that privacy is very important to Michael. He is here, she says, but it is different. She adds, simply and tellingly, he used to protect us and now we protect him.
I think there has been a good bridging of the fact of who he was, how he got there, and what are the elements that create a Formula One race car driver at its number one position. Of course he will be arrogant. Why wouldn't he be? I mean, he's the best driver in the world. I don't think that you can segregate and say that, he's such an arrogant guy, what's the big deal? I mean, no, it is a big deal because he has focused his entire life into the passion of car racing.
Michael Schumacher, 9 years after his fateful accident in 2013, has still not recovered. And he's probably unable to talk. He's certainly never been seen or heard since then, as far as I know. Is he conscious of his surroundings? It is difficult to infer from what is revealed, or actually from what is not revealed. But obviously it is not very encouraging, or else it would have been revealed. What does my daughter have to say about it? She watches sport a lot.
You have to explain to me what a performance car can do to a human being as well. Because there have been many crashes, and one of the most famous ones is the one with Senna, where he was trying to overtake Schumacher to retain the first position, and he rammed 250 kilometers plus or minus into the barricades, and he died on the spot. Now that is dangerous. These drivers are literally putting their life on the line for a sport. Yes, the money is great.
One can certainly understand the family's need for privacy and to safeguard his reputation as a world driving genius, which is under the most intense scrutiny always.
For me, this film should have had a little bit more in-depth scenario of him where I connected with Schumacher. Right now, even with this sort of film, I am watching Schumacher from a distance.
But I must say that one is certainly treated to a wonderful variety of behind-the-scenes shots of a younger Michael and other legendary Formula One bosses like Bernie Ecclestone or Flavio Briatore or Piero Ferrari, vice chairman of the entire Ferrari group, and racing drivers, famous racing drivers like Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard, or that sensation Ayrton Senna.
And undoubtedly, it has some beautiful excerpts of his personal life, his early life, where you actually see the progression in which he came through.
The lead up to Schumacher finally winning the Drivers' Championship for Ferrari, for which they waited for more than 20 years, is beautifully orchestrated. And all credit for the film's directors too, for trying to be as honest as they can with their subject, since Michael was often accused of unfair driving practices, and it comes through visual proof of driving sequences which are shown and which clearly fault Michael Schumacher. So all credit to the directors as well as to the family for allowing those scenes.
So for me, Schumacher essentially is a Okio documentary. If you have not seen who he is or the kind of person or what is F1 racing, have a little bit of a look of it. It's not a very long documentary. You go through it really fast because there's a lot of explanation, but there are a lot of people who are also speaking German. So you will have to concentrate between the video and the subtitles that are coming through. And if you miss something, then you actually miss the context of what is being said.
But according to me, the most emotionally moving scenes in the film are the interviews with Michael's wife Corina, her daughter Gina, and son Mick, who has just begun to race for Formula One at the young age of 22. In fact, the same age as Michael Schumacher when he began his career. And they put up a brave front. In fact, Mick is a breathtakingly good-looking young man, and his hopes and recollections of his father are deeply touching.
But I will rate this from my point of view at 5 on 10. It's a good watch, not very long, and it gives you a basic introduction into what F1 racing is and can be. And you can obviously watch the rest of the matches that are going on through all the circuits.
My rating for Schumacher on Netflix, 6 out of 10. The film is adequate, but not exceptional or absorbing. See it for some exciting racing footage and for the rarely seen before footage of a young Michael Schumacher and his photogenic family. But does Schumacher even know this film has been made? You can be sure to get many more provocative reviews like this from me every week. Just press on my subscriber button there and get alerts from me every time there is a new review. So, see you next time.